So I feel like it's been a crazy whirlwind of a week. There's been loads of webinars covering a variety of different topics, from pricing to marketing, lead funnels, breaking into new markets. I figured we should have one session where we just dive deep into the work process, because one of the easiest and best ways to make more money out of your business is to just get everything down to its most efficient form so that you can work your way through these projects as quickly as possible and keep more of that profit in your pocket. So that's what we're going to be diving into now. What I think I'm going to do here is I'll get my screen share up and running, and we'll just kind of go through some of the tools that are available on Design Files that will help you streamline that overall process. So everybody, let's just have a quick tech check here. I want to see if we've got new people that are joining in. If you are brand new and you weren't part of the last session and you've come in now, just let me know if you're hearing everything and you're seeing everything clearly, and then we can get started. Okay. All righty, here they come. All right, awesome. So now that, okay, hold on a second. Yep, we're all good to go here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my screen up and running. Okay, you should be able to see my screen now, and on my screen right now, we're looking at the projects view within Design Files. So I'll just pause here for a second, make sure everybody's able to see everything, and then we can continue on. Now, okay, so let's dive into this particular session. So just to give you an overview of what we're trying to do here, one of the biggest things with running an e-design business is making sure that your projects are running as quickly as possible, as smoothly as possible, and that you're still able to give your clients an amazing online design experience. So one of the best ways that you can really streamline your process is to just get all the tools that you need to run those projects into one place. Because if you are jumping around and you're using a dozen different programs, you're uploading images to your computer and you've saved them onto files, and you've got spreadsheets and you've got communication that's happening elsewhere, and it can just create a lot of confusion. It can fragment your workflow. It makes it difficult to keep track of the overall progress of your projects. But when you can get everything into one place and have all your tools working together, it can actually start to automate a lot of the more tedious tasks that can eat up quite a bit of your time. So we're going to go through that work process during this session. And just to kind of clarify what we're going to be focusing on, I'm going to focus on the portion of the project where you've already got your client. So let's say somebody came to your site, they really fell in love with your design style, you've had your initial discussion call with them, you've signed off on a contract, you collected payment, and now you're ready to start working on the actual meat of the project. That's where we're going to focus on, straight through to handing over the final deliveries. Now, if you have all your tools in one place, this can be a very, very quick process. And if we're going to kind of start from the very initial stage of kickstarting into the meat of the project, one of the first things that I would highly recommend is just getting a design questionnaire right out to your client and making sure that you are getting all of the necessary project information so that you can kickstart this and make sure that you are kind of getting started on the right foot. And if you don't already have a design questionnaire set up, or if you don't have one that is integrated into your kind of project management design software, then I want to just kind of quickly go over how the Design Files questionnaire can work for you and how it can kind of simplify that process right out the gate. So in your Design Files account, if you go into your account settings, you'll see that there is an option where you have the project questionnaire. There's already one that is a default questionnaire that's built for you, and it's got all the key questions that you're going to want to include when you are trying to collect information from your client to make sure that you have everything you need to kickstart the project. One of the nice things about having a design questionnaire that's built into your software is that it allows you to send it directly out to your client, and when they submit it back to you, all that information is automatically saved to the project. So you can have everything in one location. And the other nice thing about having your design questionnaire set up within Design Files is that you can completely customize it. You can brand it to your business. You can change out the colors of the questionnaire, add in your logo. You can edit any of the questions that we've added. You can hide them. You can make them required. You can add in your own. And it gives your client a really nice, clean design questionnaire that they can use, where they can quickly flip through the process, select any of the preset options that you've provided to them, and make their way through this questionnaire. You also have the ability to add in really nice large images so you can kind of, enhance the overall questionnaire, make it more engaging and fun to fill out. And when you have your questionnaire all set up and you're ready to just start sending this out to your client, it's really easy to do as well. So if I exit out of here and we just decide that we've already created the design questionnaire and we want to basically kickstart a project and send that questionnaire directly out to the client, all I have to do is click the button to create a new project. We'll just call this sample project. We'll give it a name, create the project, and then I can just click this link right here to invite my client to fill out the design questionnaire. I put their email address in, add in a custom message, send the questionnaire out. And when I do that, the system's automatically going to send an email out to your client. It'll be branded to your business, and it's just going to have a simple message that says, please take a moment to tell us about your project. They're going to click that link, fill out the questionnaire, and when they submit it, all that information is saved right here to your client project. So you always can come back and you can review those details whenever you want to check in. And you're going to be notified by email when your client submits it. So you'll always know when they've actually filled it out. Now, once you have your design questionnaire in place, I'm actually going to kick into one of these projects here that I've already set up. One of the next things that I would highly recommend doing for any project that you take on is to get your task list ready. Put together a detailed task list so you know exactly what you need to complete, when you need to complete it by, who's going to be taking care of it, and that will ensure that you and your team are moving forward and able to meet those deadlines. So within Design Files, to help you kind of stay on top of your projects, we have built in a new task management feature. And here you can just go ahead and you can create your detailed task list for everything that you need to complete for this project. You can assign it to specific team members. You can set priorities, set due dates. And if I go in here to just edit one of these tasks, you'll also see that you have the ability to add notes and add any additional attachments if you need to. So for instance, I've got this one right here where I want Allison, who's part of my team, I want her to send the design questionnaire out to the client. But maybe I wanted her to just add in a few key new questions before she does that. So I can add a task, indicate the questions that I want added to this questionnaire before it gets sent out. And then I can say, okay, I'm going to save this task. It's going to show here. And when I assign somebody to a task, they get notified automatically. And if you're just assigning tasks yourself, you're going to get notified automatically. So it'll give you that detailed list where you can just say, okay, here's everything that I need to do. And I can just come in here and I can start checking these things off. And it gives you and your team one location where you can all check in and see the progress for your project. Now, aside from creating your questionnaires and getting your task list set, one of the next things that I would probably recommend for every designer, for every single project, is to just make a point of tracking your time. Because here's the thing, it's so important, especially if you're running an e-design business, because if you're charging a flat rate up front and you're basically saying that you are going to be responsible for X number of deliverables. If you don't really know how much time it takes you to complete those deliverables, you might think that you're billing out at $125 an hour, but really you're only billing out at $50 an hour because you didn't account for all the extra time that you're spending on that project. So tracking your time, even if you're charging a flat rate, it is so, so important. And in Design Files, there is a time tracker that you can use. You just select the project that you're going to work on, put in a note indicating what task you're working on and start your timer. And the great thing about this is that the more projects you do and the more projects you track time-wise, it's going to give you a very clear picture of how much time it actually takes you to complete these tasks. And then you can look back at your flat rate price and you can say, you know what, I'm charging way too low and this price needs to come up, or I need to rethink what deliverables I'm going to include within this package if it's just taking too much time to complete those projects. But it gives you a way to start really smartly thinking about your business so that you can ensure that you are building design services and packages that are going to be profitable for you. All right. So once you have your timer in place, one of the next things, if you've already got your contract signed and you've got payment, you had the questionnaire filled out, you've set up your task list, you might be tempted to just immediately start jumping into sourcing products and creating design boards. But I would actually recommend that you pump the brakes on that just for a little bit, because I think that one of the best ways to kickstart any project, no matter what, is to start first with your floor plans before you get into creating your mood board designs. And the reason I say that is that if you build out the floor plan, it's going to help you identify a number of things. One, you're going to be able to quickly find out if there's any problematic areas within that space that you need to plan for. It's going to give you a sense for how people are going to start moving through the space. It'll absolutely show you what items are going to be needed to properly fill out this particular room. And it's really going to give you a good idea of what size furniture is going to be the best fit for this space. When you have all of that underneath your belt, it means that when you go into the sourcing stage of the project, you're going to come into it much more purposefully because you're going to know exactly what pieces you're looking for. And you're not going to be putting together design boards, bringing in products that might not be a great fit, and then having to start over again. So start with the floor plan, even if you're just going to create a simple black and white top down like this, just to get a sense for what's really truly needed and what size furniture is going to be the best fit for the space. And then you can go ahead and you can start jumping into sourcing and creating your mood boards. Now, when you're creating your designs, there are different ways that you can approach your mood board designs. So one of the things that I often recommend is that if you are just getting started into your project with your client, you might want to consider creating a simple concept board like this first, before you dive into creating more of a detailed room board like this one right here. The reason I say that is that when you create a simple concept board like this, they're really, really quick and easy to make. You don't have to worry about sizing everything and trying to get everything proportionate to other items within the space. You're just going to dump a bunch of products up onto a clean white backdrop. And the nice thing about this is that you can quickly put it together, send that out to your client, see if they're enjoying the overall style that you've put together and the selection that you've put together. And if they're not, okay, great. At least you didn't spend time, trying to make everything so perfect on this design board first. And then, having to go back and then build out that design board all over again. Creating these simple concept boards, pushing them out to your client, seeing if they're enjoying the vision or the direction for it. And if they are, great. Then spend the time to kind of build something out that's a little bit more detailed so they can get a sense for how all these items are going to come together. And if they didn't like the concept, great, no problem. You can whip together another concept board quickly and then see if they're enjoying that direction before you really start diving into more detailed designs. Hopefully that makes sense. I mean, every designer can approach their projects the way they like. My goal is really just to figure out a process that's going to save you time and not have you doubling back and having to spend additional hours when you don't need to. Now, maybe what we could do here is now that we've kind of talked a little bit about the mood boards and the different styles of mood boards that you can create using design files, let's dive into sourcing the actual products, because sourcing products is one of those areas that is often the biggest time sucks. It can take hours to find the right items. And I really can kind of understand how it can take items, because as a designer, you want to find that perfect fit for that individual client where they're just going to look at that design board and just think, this is 100% me, this designer gets me, and it does take time to find those items. So how can we start streamlining that process when it comes to sourcing products? There's definitely ways to go about it. So if you are currently still going to individual vendor sites and you're saving items to a folder on your computer, and then you're bringing up a spreadsheet and you're typing in all of the product details so that you have an organized list of all that product information, you're killing your productivity if you're still doing that process. One of the essential tools for any designer right now is going to be a browser clipper tool. There's plenty of platforms that have them. I'm sure plenty of you are familiar with using a product clipper or a browser clipper tool, whatever you want to call it. But if you aren't familiar with how a browser clipper tool works, it's essentially just a tool that allows you to go to any vendor site. You can, if you find an item you like, you can click on your Add to Design Files option at the top for your browser clipper. It'll expand this window, and it allows you to grab all the product information, all the product images. You can grab the images of the product from every angle so you can pull in the best one that's going to suit your design, add in all the product details, and then save that directly to your project. And if you're looking at this and thinking, I don't really want to spend the time to add in all those product details, do it. It takes less than a minute. And here's the thing, when you fill that out, it means that when you save this item to design files, all that product information is saved to the system as well. So when you create your product list, all of it's automatically added. If you want to create a PDF presentation, all the information is automatically added. If you want to use that item for another client project, you have the information. So just add it once, take the less than a minute, 30 seconds that it's going to take to fill out these fields. It's just as simple as clicking on the grab icon and clicking on the detail. And then you can save this item directly to your Design Files account, or you could save it to a specific project as well if you want, or multiple locations, totally up to you. But the nice thing is that when you save this item, it's going to be added into your Design Files personal library, and then you'll be able to automatically pull that directly into a design board and move forward faster with your design presentations. So let's just jump into the mood board software here so you can see where those items save. If I go over here into the right side panel and I go into my library, there's the chair that I just saved. I can flip through these arrows and I can pull out whatever version of this chair I want to build into my design. So it's a lot faster than having your product images saved somewhere or spread somewhere else. All that information can be added into one system where you can pull it directly into your design boards. And then because that information's in the system, it can start automatically doing the tasks that you don't necessarily want to do, like managing product lists or updating product lists or creating presentations with all that information. Now, another way that we do try to help streamline the sourcing process for designers is to just provide a built-in product library. So we do actually have, while you can add in as many items as you like into your own personal library, and you can use the browser clipper, or you can just upload items directly from your computer. There's also a built-in product library, and it has close to 1 million products in it. So you can just search for a particular type of product. You'll see all the options that we have across all the vendors that we're working with. And if you'd prefer to just kind of break it down by vendor, you can go into the vendors tab. And here you're going to see all the different collections that are available, and you can jump into any of those if you want to just browse that specific vendor. Now, let's jump back out of here. One of the other things that I'm just going to bring to your attention, just because it's a new update and I'm kind of excited for it, is that aside from the built-in product library and your personal library, we also added in a new option that is your assets library. So if you like the idea of being able to brand your design boards and upload images of your logo or just sort of graphic elements that you want to use as part of your designs, you can add those items to your asset library. And then what that means is when you save this design board, anything that's part of your asset library will not be added to your product list. So your product list will just remain as a clean product list for your client that shows all the items that they need to purchase for this project. Okay. Now, I'm not going to actually get too into the details of how to build out your design boards within Design Files for this presentation, mainly because That's exactly what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So if you like the idea of learning a few cool tips for how to create design boards like this from start to finish, then join me tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and we will walk through creating this design step by step. All right. So with that said, I think what I'm going to do here is let's jump out of the mood board software and let's focus a little bit more time on some of the other areas of your workflow that can be streamlined to be more efficient and still provide your client with a great experience. So once you've created your design board, if you've dragged all your items out and onto it and you're happy with your design, what you want to do is you're going to save your design. And when you save your design, you're just going to click the button to go back to app. When you come back to the app, it'll bring you to your project page here. And one of the key features that is built into design files that a lot of our designers like because it saves them time is the fact that when you save your design board, the full product list is automatically generated for you. This product list is going to include all the product information. It includes quantities needed. You can bump that up if you need to. It'll include shop links. It allows the client to approve, decline, or leave feedback. And it all happens within one clean interface. Now, there's a couple of ways that you could approach this, and it really comes down to how you like to work. But typically when it comes to e-design services, it's normally a case where you're just letting the client shop the look themselves. So if you plan on continuing to do that, down here on the product list, you can just leave all that product information available. And if you want to just pop up to the top and invite your client in to review this design and have access to the product list where they can make their selections, click this button right here. Their name and their email address is already added to the project, but if you haven't added them yet, you can. And then just turn the toggles on for any of the design boards that you want to share with them, add in a personal message, submit the designs to your client. And again, the system's then going to send an email out to your client. It'll be branded to your business. And it'll just have a simple message that says, designs are ready for you to review. Click here to access them. So your client will click on that link and they'll be brought right into this view where they can use the arrows to flip through and see any of the design boards that you've created and any floor plans. They're also going to be able to come down here and read your design rationale. So this is a great thing that you should be doing, by the way. If you're not including a design rationale, get in the habit of doing it, because this is where you basically get to say to your client, I've been listening to you from the get-go. I hear everything that you're saying. I understand your concerns and your needs for this room. This design is going to address all of that and give you that result that you're looking for. So take the time to really list out why you approached the design the way you did, because if you're not also having those kind of face-to-face meetings with your client, this is a great way to just kind of throw in a little bit of your personality and just kind of get more personal with them so that it feels like a really high-touch design experience that you're going to be providing to these clients. Now down here, this is where they're just going to be able to pop right in and they're going to be able to see all of the products. They can click on any of these items. They can hover over them to see large images of the actual products and really see the details. They can flip through any of these images. They've got all the product information. They've got the source link, and they can pop over and they can make the purchase for this particular item. They can also just choose to approve and decline items, and they can leave feedback as well. So maybe they love this credenza, but they're really thinking that they would prefer it in a different wood finish. They can leave any comments that they want. And when they do leave a comment, you're automatically notified. So every time your client's interacting with the project, you're going to get pinged with an email notification. So you're always kept up to date. And then you can come in and you can make your revisions or changes and then resend out the revised designs that you want to share with your client. Now, another way that you could approach this is you might choose to do a Zoom presentation and share your screen with your client. So there's two ways that you can kind of allow your client to interact with the project. One, you could just invite them in and let them do their thing, or two, you could do a Zoom presentation. Let's say that we want to do the Zoom presentation. One of the nice things about doing that is that it gives you that face-to-face time, that more personal connection that you can have with your client. It also allows you to address why you designed the space the way you did and answer any of the questions that your client has right on the spot. And if you do want to do that Zoom presentation, you can just share this screen. I'd probably hit F11 on my keyboard just to get rid of that browser header so I have more of the screen visible and a cleaner interface to share with. And I could start by sharing this particular design. And if I wanted to just kind of increase the size of that to fill out the whole space, you can use this little icon right here to blow up the design so that it really occupies the full space. And then you can make your way through the individual design boards that you've created and the floor plans. This will allow your client to really get in and see the details. And then when you're ready, you can close this down, come down to your product list. And as you and your client are interacting on Zoom, you can just go ahead and mark any of these items off as approved if they've given you approval, mark any ones off that are declined. And if they've added any feedback, you can include the feedback yourself. And that way, when you're done with your presentation, all of that information is saved to the project. So you can then go back and you can make any revisions you need to make. And then again, move forward with sharing the revised designs with your client. Now, if you're not planning on doing Zoom presentations, and every designer works differently, you can just let the client come in and review the designs themselves. And when it comes to particular clients, there are always going to be those clients that are just super swamped with life, with work, with everything. Their schedule is just completely blown out. And even setting up time to meet with them, even over a Zoom presentation, can be difficult. So if your client's so busy that they can't meet with you for the next week or the next 3 days, sometimes just letting those clients come in and just review the designs on their own and make their selections is going to be a better bet, because you can move the project forward faster. And your client also appreciates the convenience of being able to pop in whenever they've got a free moment. Maybe it's on their lunch break. Maybe it's after they put their baby down for a nap, whatever the case may be. A lot of clients really enjoy the interface of working in DesignFiles because it's one page where they get to see everything and they can come in and just leave feedback when they've got that moment. So it's just different ways of approaching your design services and figuring out what's going to work best for you and your client. Now, if I jump, let's see here. Let's jump down. Let's say that we've already created the designs. We have sent along we've invited the client in to review the designs and leave feedback and just kind of approve items. At this point, one of the other things that I would probably recommend doing, let's say that I have already worked with my client for a little bit. We've done a few rounds of revisions. We're on to the final round, and my client's gone ahead and they've approved everything, and we're ready to go to the next level. So one of the things that I would also recommend for any e-designer when it comes to pulling together deliverables for your client is creating a how-to guide. Because more often than not, you're not going to be there with your client to do the install. And if you're not going to be there to do the install, there's definitely going to be cases where your client is just unsure of how to pull this whole room together. You've got a designer eye. There's things that are just intuitive. You just completely know how to do it, like how high and wide to hang the curtains, or how to place the artwork on the wall, or how low is that light fixture going to hang over the coffee table. These are things that you know, but it's stuff that your client doesn't naturally know. So what you want to do is you want to have a detailed how-to guide that allows you to just list out step by step, here's how you're going to easily pull this room together to get this perfect design look. And there's different ways that you could approach doing your how-to guide. One, you could create individual design boards for each of those steps. So you could have a design board that just focuses on the placement of the artwork on the wall. You could have a design board that focuses on how you're going to hang those curtains around that window. And you could create individual design boards for each of those steps. Or you could choose to create a detailed Google Doc. And you could include a link to your how-to guide in your design rationale, which means that when your client comes to this view to review the project, they've got everything they need in one place. They've got all their designs that they can flip through. They've got your design rationale explaining why you pulled this room together in the way that you did. They've got their how-to guide, so they know exactly how to arrange these items or place these items once it's all delivered. And they've got their complete product list with all of the shop links. So they can go ahead and they can start purchasing these items and having them delivered to their home as they work through this project. Some clients might choose to purchase everything all at once, and others might come back and kind of shop it over a couple of months and spread it out a little bit. So either way, they've got everything they need in one interface, and it just makes life so much easier on them. Now, your how-to guide, I'm just going to click on this link right here. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy. You just want to have like a nice branded document that basically walks through step by step some of the key areas that they need to have more details on in order to get that really nice designed look for their final space. So you could just have it step by step like this, where it's like hanging artwork. All right, great. Here's where we're going to be hanging the artwork. It's going on this wall. Here's exactly how the layout is going to look. If you're hanging your light fixture, here's how high you should be hanging this over the coffee table, and make your way through those steps. And then by providing this, it's going to make it feel like when the client's actually going through the process of setting up their actual space, it'll feel like you're actually there with them, building it out. Okay, let me see here. I want to go back to this view right here. Okay, so one of the other things that I should mention here is that if you like the idea of closing out all of your e-design projects, just kind of with like a nice little bundle, a nice takeaway for your clients, the other thing that you can always do is you can send them out a PDF presentation. So within Design Files, you have the option up here to download the client presentation as a PDF. If I click into that, it'll give me this view where I can choose to literally just send everything out to my client if I want to, or I can get really specific and I can just kind of narrow it down to a few key details so that they have, again, everything they need in one particular document to move forward with this project without me, because we're wrapping this up and I'm going to have to move on to my next client project. So here I could choose to uncheck these boxes. I don't want to include everything. I just want to include that key final design board, the product list. I am going to include my design rationale. That's also going to include my how-to guide. And I'll also include that floor plan image. So they've got a sense for how everything's going to get laid out. Now down here, I can do either portrait or landscape. I'm going to do landscape because it gives me larger pictures of the actual design boards. And I could choose to hide the branded header, but I actually like the way it looks, so I'm going to keep it on. If you brand all of your individual design boards, you might not want to have the addition of the branded header, so it just kind of depends on how you build out your designs. I don't tend to brand the design boards themselves, and I leave all the branding as the headers for the documents. It's totally up to you. But let's go ahead, we'll generate this presentation. And then again, this is just another way where you can start automating some of these tasks that you might be spending time building out manually yourself. So if you're using something like Illustrator or InDesign and you're creating these detailed documents that you're going to send out to your client, you could look at just having these automatically generated for you and include all of those key elements that are going to make it easy for your client to have the details they need and move forward on the project. So you've got your branded header, you've got your design board, total cost for the design, which you can choose to hide that if you want or leave it. Then we've got our design rationale and our how-to guide. I only have a couple links or lines of text here. I don't recommend that. Use your design rationale and really flesh it out. Let the client know that you've been listening from the get-go. You totally understand what they're looking for. You've built this room to accommodate all of their needs, and you're just explaining your reasons for doing that. It's a great way to just kind of get a little bit more personal with your clients as well. And you can add in a little personality in the way that you write too. So just flesh it out and just give them a detailed reason for why you've gone about it, and definitely include your how-to guide so they have all the details they need to close out the project. And then down here, again, you've got your full product list with shop links, all the details, quantities needed, and you can download this document, send it out to your client, and give it to them as basically like a closing out gift so they have everything they need in one place to complete the project. Okay, let's back out of this. And I guess one thing that I do also want to just touch on quickly before we kind of wrap this up. And I do want to open it up for questions because I know that every designer tends to work differently. So I think sometimes it's better to just address the different ways that you guys like to work. But a couple key things that I'll just kind of add in here just to help you streamline your process further. If you are creating design boards like this and you want to show a different kind of alternative option for your client where you're switching out a few key items, duplicate the design. Don't restart these things from scratch. Just pop into here, duplicate the design, and then you can edit the duplicated version, add in your different items. And the nice thing about that is that it means you never got rid of your original design in the first place, because you don't want to end up in a situation where you've created a whole new design, you changed out a bunch of items, and your client's like, you know what? I think I really preferred the original design. Can we go back to that one? And then you've got to rebuild the original design. So just think about duplicating those design boards so you're saving yourself time. If you are going to be using affiliate links, I know we just had a conversation with Chad about side door. You can use side door products within your designs where you're going to earn much higher commissions on the sale of the products. But if you do like to use standard affiliate links like to know, or I don't know, if you've joined any of the affiliate networks like ShareSale, CJ, Sovereign, any of those guys, you can choose to include your affiliate links directly into your design files projects as well. So down here on your product list, there is an option where you can edit price and details. And right here, you can put your affiliate link instead of this link. And then when you do that and you save this item, it means that if your client comes in and they shop this product, you're going to earn the commission on the sale of this item. So you can keep that in mind if that's one way that you like to work. And if you're interested in using affiliate links, or you're currently using some and you want to kind of learn where to find more of those affiliate links, Cole, if you're listening, can you drop the affiliate guide into the chat as well so that people can access that? Just so everybody has multiple options for how they like to work. So use side door. You can access the side door collection and you can earn higher commissions on those products. If you like to use standard affiliate links and you just want to be able to add your own, you can absolutely do that as well. And Cole will include the guide in the chat so that you can see where you can find some of the top brands, what you're going to be able to earn from those affiliate networks, and how to incorporate those into your design projects. Okay. I think lastly, one of the final things that I will address here is your activity feed. If you want to just have a quick review of where your projects are and how your clients are interacting with your projects, within Design Files, there is an activity feed. And this is going to track every single interaction your client had with this particular project. So they're going to be it'll allow you to come in and see what day they logged in on, which design boards they were looking at, if they left feedback, if they approved products. You'll see it all here and the exact day that they did it on. Okay. Let's close out of the screen share for now. I will take a sip of my coffee because I feel like my throat's dry and parched because I've been talking forever. And we'll just get into having a look at some of your questions and seeing if we can address those. Okay. All righty. So let's go ahead and see. I think I'm just going to scroll all the way to the top here, you guys, so I can start addressing these questions one at a time and make my way back down if that works. So just give me 1 second here and I'll just make my way to the top. Okay. All righty. I think I've hit the top here now. So I'm just seeing that there's a couple of questions just about the eDesign Business Building Week on a whole. So just so you know, all the sessions are recorded. What we're going to do is we're actually going to be sending out an email that'll have all of the recordings. We're going to have a blog post that has all of the recordings and all of the giveaways that you can get from this whole event. And I believe you also have the ability to see all of the recordings in the event view on the Facebook group as well. Cole, do you want to just kind of leave a message in the chat if I'm misrepresenting that? I feel like there's a location on Facebook where they can see all the recordings. Okay, so I do have a question here about the 3D floor planner within Design Files. You wanted to know if we have plans to make it more robust. 100%. 100%. This is definitely going to be a top priority for us over for the foreseeable future. One of the things that the team is working on right now is just getting our new wall editing tool so that it'll work on ceilings and floors. We have plans for a robust module that's going to help with kitchen designs. One of the things that we're looking into right now is setting it up so that you can just automatically add specific door styles, hardware styles, countertops, colors, etc., and just have it happen across all of the cabinets. So we want to make sure that we're setting up the updates for kitchen in 3D to be really, really intuitive and quick and easy to use. It does mean it takes time to build it, but I think the end result is going to be much more efficient for you guys. So we'll keep you posted and we'll let you know when that's happening. Okay. Okay, are there templates available, or is it set to where you can only make ones from previous projects? So within Design Files, we don't have preset templates that are available for you to use, but you do have a design board template library. So you can actually create branded templates that you can use for future projects. If you want to create branded templates that are just kind of branded headers with a few key elements in it, and then the majority of it's just empty so that you can repurpose it over and over again for your projects, there's absolutely the option to do that. Cole, it might be handy if you could share the 2 videos that we have for creating templates, one for actually creating it and one for the board template library where you can save all those design boards and then repurpose them for future projects. But that's absolutely something that's available. Okay. Can you import a standard task list that is the basic starting point for each project? So yeah, totally reading our minds. So we just kickstarted with the project task list where you can create it within projects. One thing I didn't mention is that there is also now a global task list. So if you like the idea of being able to just jump into your Design Files account and see all the tasks that are on the go for any given project, you'll actually see tasks at the top of the navigation, and that's your global one. You can jump into projects and see your project-specific task list. But one thing that we still have to work on is giving designers the ability to create a task list, duplicate that, and then add that to any client project moving forward, or just have a default task list that you can apply to any project so that when you kickstart it, it's already added in. But I love this idea. We had this feedback from some members on our Facebook group, and it just makes so much sense. So we'll keep you posted on that one, but I think that's something that we should be able to move forward on fairly quickly. Okay, so there's a question here. Let's see here. I believe I'm understanding this one. Within the drawer, could we have a larger window option? I do a lot of sourcing directly from the drawer, but it's really small. I believe you're talking about the right side panel product library. So if I'm getting that correctly, we could definitely look into that. Maybe it's a case where we don't necessarily expand the actual panel because we want to make sure that it's not occupying too much space so that you have the majority of the space to do your design boards. But maybe we could look into increasing the product images there, or maybe we look into creating a view where, similar to your projects tab, I think it's going to be easier if I show this. Maybe I'm going to show this, and then we can just kind of chat this one out and see if I can get some feedback from you guys on it. So let me go ahead and I'm going to present again. What if we could look into doing something up here in this view where it shows your product library, but also the design files product library shows all the products in this view where it's large, and you can quickly go through each of these items and then just add items to specific projects or to your personal library or something like that. But it would give you a larger view to do some sourcing and then have all of those items already added to your specific project list so that when you go into the mood board, you could just pull together your designs quickly. So that's something that we could look into doing aside from just expanding. Let's see here. Versus, let's just pop into here. We could, versus just kind of increasing the overall, looking at this now, I don't know that we would really, because if we increase the overall size of these items, you're going to see like maybe 4 that would be visible. So we'll have to give that some thought, but good feedback for thought. I'll just take that back to the team and we can discuss it out. Okay, stop sharing. Okay. I guess quick question for you guys. So before I kind of dive into some of these additional questions here, this particular event session was focused specifically for e-design. How many of you are doing e-design offerings where you are still using trade products and you're managing the ordering process of those products? If you're doing that, just say yes in the chat. I want to get a sense for how many designers are still managing trade products, even in an e-design project. And I got to scroll all the way to the bottom here just so I can see these comments coming in. Okay, cool. Okay, if it's cool with you guys, I'm going to pick your brain a little bit because I want to get a better sense for how you are handling your projects. So, wow. Okay, we've got a lot of people here that are choosing to use trade products and manage the ordering process even on an e-design project. My next question to you then is, if you are using trade products and you are managing the ordering process, are you charging a flat fee for your design services and then billing hourly to manage the ordering process? Okay. So I just want to let a few more comments come in here. I'm just curious about this process because in my mind, if you were just charging a flat rate for both the design part and the project management, I could see how it would be very difficult to account for the number of hours you're going to spend on the actual order management side. So setting a flat fee for that would be risky, and it might mean that you end up working additional hours that you didn't get paid for. So I just wanted to get a sense for how many of you are actually switching over into hourly. Okay, so I am seeing currently flat fee for everything. Based on what I had just mentioned there, to me, even with the way the industry is right now, it seems like it would be, I would probably want to switch over into billing hourly for managing the actual products, because I just don't see how it would be possible to estimate how many hours it's going to take to manage that process. It's going to happen over months and months and months. So for me, I think I would break it up and I would do flat fee for the design, hourly for the rest. Okay, and next question then, if you guys are dealing with, okay, let's see here. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to avoid there. We always work extra hours that we don't get paid for. Totally. So switching to hourly for the whole product order management side makes a lot of sense. Also, if you're not tracking your time, please track your time. Do it for everything, every single task that you take on, because you're probably going to find that you thought you were charging for a certain hourly rate and you're not close to that because of all the extra time that you're putting in that you're not accounting for. So just track everything. And the more projects you do and the more history you have of the time that you're spending, it's really going to help you ensure that you're setting your prices accordingly. Okay, this is really great. So it kind of helps change up the framework for thinking about how e-designers work, because ultimately when e-design came out onto the market, it was one of those cases where it felt like it was just kind of lower. I don't want to call it lower end, but when it first came out, it did feel like it was kind of quick, cheaper e-design or design work. You got a design board, you got a product list, your client went and did the shopping. It was mainly retail products. You didn't earn off of the sales of the products, and you just tried to turn those services over quickly. And ultimately that model's not ideal. It's not a great way to build a really profitable design business. So it's great to see that there's more interest in e-design, but it sounds like it's more of a hybrid model, really. If so many of you are using your trade accounts and you're managing the ordering process, it seems like it's kind of built into more of a hybrid model. And I guess at that point, my question is, do you find that you're just enjoying the overall process of keeping the majority of the interactions of the project online, like sending questionnaires, contracts, doing invoicing online, or having a set design package that somebody can purchase, doing all of the design presentations online, and then just managing the ordering products? These are so many questions I have, you guys. I honestly feel like I want to do a live session in our Facebook group just to pick your brains on this. Okay. You know what? We're going to do that. I'm going to schedule another session where we're going to do that. Anybody who's in the Facebook group can join in, and let's have a discussion about how to set up a really cool hybrid model. I'm going to go back to the top now before I get totally distracted, and let's just see if I can answer some more of these questions. Okay, what's the best way to provide alternatives for a few key items without showing them on mood board, design board, but listing them in the product list? Oh, here's exactly how you do that. Here we go. I'm going to, again, share my screen. Let's see here. Let's go into this design. Let's say that I want to show a secondary option on this design board for a different chair, but I don't want it to show on my design board. I only want it to show in the product list. I'm going to go into my library. Let's just drag this chair out here. What you want to do is you're going to place it in the gray area. So just keep it outside of this white mood board. I'll just zoom down here. See how this is my mood board and the edges of it? What you want to do is you're not going to add that item to the mood board. You're going to place it outside in the gray area. If I save this design now, it means, let's see if I think I've kept my screen open here I've got too many tabs open, you guys. Okay, if I keep this over here in the gray area, it means that when I save my design, this particular item is going to show within the product list, and it's not going to show within the actual design board. Okay. You could hide. There's a designer here that's mentioning that they hide the alternative products under other items on the design board. You can do that as well. It just means that when you are editing your board, you might have to shift things over and then remove things. So if you keep it off into the gray area, then you don't have to worry about rearranging your design board. You can just play around with those items and they'll still show within the product list. Okay, question about the realistic 3D renders. I hear you. We did have to push a few other features ahead of that. The good news is that the realistic renders are actually just about ready to go. So we just need to kind of set things up and get them out the door. But I know it's been a long way. It's been a bit of a long wait for that one. So let me talk to the team. We can just see where we are with the schedule, and we can see how quickly we can push those out. Can you include more than one affiliate link? Not if you can only include one affiliate link on a single product, but you can add affiliate links to every single item within your product list. It has to be one affiliate link per product. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, so I'm seeing a question here about hiding all the vendor names on the product list. So to be honest, you guys, I kind of prepared this presentation with a more classic look of eDesign where you let the client shop the look. Since so many of you are saying that you are using your trade products, what I'd probably recommend is that in design files, and again, I'll just do a quick share here. So let's do this. Just in case somebody isn't aware of how it works. Okay, in this product list, we can see that the shop buttons, I'm just going to turn this off just so you have a clear idea. If you are going to be using your trade discounts for your projects, what you want to do is make sure that you're hiding any of the shop buttons or any additional details on your product list that show the client where they could source this product. So here where it says manage what client sees, you can choose to hide all the vendor names, the SKUs, and the shop buttons. And that means that when you invite them in to review this project, I'll just preview as a client here. If I go down here, all these shop buttons are gone. So now my client can only approve, decline, or leave feedback. And if I click into any of these items, any reference to the actual brand, okay, don't leave the brand name as part of your product name. That would be a key. That would be a key thing to do right there. So we would come back here. There we go. So we can remove any extra details from the product name. The other thing that you can do is, if you don't want to show the actual name of this item, put in a client-facing name, to just call it sofa. And if you put in a client-facing name, that's what's going to show on the product list, on any invoices, quotes that you're going to send out to your client. So they can never take the actual product name and then try to search for that item without you. See how it says sofa now? So you can choose to hide product details from your client if you want to make sure that you are always in charge of the ordering process. Okay. All right. It is 3 o'clock. I can probably do a few extra questions here if you like. So let me go ahead and we'll just kind of make our way through this, and then we'll try to wrap this one up. Is this also linked for invoices to QBO? Yes, it is. There is a QuickBooks integration in your account settings within Design Files. You can just sync your Design Files account to your QuickBooks account, and then you can sync over all of your invoices and your purchase orders over to QuickBooks. Okay, so there is a request here to build out the task section so that it's not project specific. Good news, already available. So go ahead into your Design Files account. At the top nav, you're going to see the new task option. That is your global tasks. It's going to allow you to see all the tasks you have on the go for any given project. Is there a plan in the works to make an overall sheet that simply lists all that's been approved purchased? So you do have the ability to add all approved items directly to an invoice. There's also the ability to download a project CSV that will have all the product information for all the design boards within a project. I'd need to check into that to see if it actually also includes the status of those items. If it includes the status of those items, then you can filter that column by the status. And if it doesn't include the status, then we can look into adding it so that you have that ability to filter down and see what's been invoiced and what's been approved. Any suggestions for showing furniture in 3D view when you choose a piece of furniture that doesn't have multiple views? One of the things that I would actually recommend doing is, let me see if I can, again, we'll see. Okay, I'm going to try and present one last time here. Okay. I want to see if I can open this up. Okay, let's say that this chair only had one view and no additional options available to you. One of the things that you can try doing is you can right click on the product, search image with Google. It's going to open up Google Lens and it's going to bring up this item. It's going to search basically the web for this item and any vendors that are carrying it. And it might give you a case where you're able to find this item in different positions, different fabrics, different whatever. Try that first to see if you can find this item on any other vendor site where it is shot in a different angle. You can then grab those images, but you can still maintain the product details and the price and everything else from that specific source that you're going to be pulling this item from. This will just give you an option to find additional product images for that item. So try that and hopefully that will help. Okay, so Adina Hall Design, I see the comment that you've added here. One issue I ran into is ordering an item twice as the system allowed me to create multiple POs from the same invoice. I find it difficult to visually see which items were ordered and which were not. So one thing that we're actually looking into is having two statuses when you're dealing with your purchase orders. One that's going to be a case, I'm going to have to look into this one a little bit further because I can't remember quite where we left off. But I think what would help is having a case where it's like, this particular purchase order has been created and then indicating which of the items within that purchase order have already been purchased, which ones are still outstanding, and which ones are currently in transit or on their way. I think we just need to look at adding in multiple statuses so you can get a sense for this one's been purchased and is being shipped, or this one is still sitting around and waiting to be purchased. Hopefully that answers the question. Oh, I'm running into all of the comments about potentially changing up the product library view. So that's cool. That's great. What we can do is I can share that insight with our team, and then we can kind of think about different ways of approaching it. Okay, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm probably going to close out. Let's see if we can get one more in here. Just a flat fee. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom. These are just more comments. Is DesignFiles a complete system for invoicing and POs without QB? So no. So basically what we do is we've got an integration on the go where you can sync over your invoices and your purchase orders and have that added to your QuickBooks account where you can also track other expenses in your business. So if you're using QuickBooks to track those additional expenses like office or gas, mileage, whatever the case may be, then you're still going to want to keep that and then just sync over your documents so you have everything in one place for your accountant and your bookkeepers. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap this one up. I'll go through all of the additional comments and questions that we didn't get to on this session. I do hope that you had a great couple of sessions today and that you were able to get some good takeaways for your business. Tomorrow, I am going to be doing another session at 1 p.m. We're going to be talking about how you can build out more realistic mood board designs. I'm going to share some of my best tips and tricks for creating those designs and getting them nice and clean and polished. And I really hope that you join me for that session. So for now, I'm just going to say bye. It's been awesome hanging out, and I will see you tomorrow.